Hello students, I am CG sir. In the last class, we discussed about the invertible transformation or invertible operator. First, we have defined the invertible function, then imposing the linear condition on the function, we have defined the invertible linear operator. Now we note that if T is a linear transformation such that T is a linear transformation from a vector space V onto a vector space W, and T is invertible. Again, U is another linear transformation from W onto Z. These are both are onto and both are invertible. Then UT, it is also a linear transformation from V to W. Sorry, it will be V to Z. It is also invertible linear transformation. And ut whole inverse will be T inverse U inverse. Okay, next we have an observation. Let T be a linear transformation from V to W, and alpha beta are two arbitrary elements in V. Then T of alpha minus beta equal to T alpha minus T beta, it holds because T is a linear transformation. So T alpha minus T beta equal to theta, that means T alpha equal to T beta if this quantity is theta. So again, this quantity is theta means alpha minus beta belongs to cut T. Alpha minus beta belongs to cut T means alpha minus beta equal to theta, but it does not imply alpha equal to beta. Okay, so for the one-oneness of the transformation T, we have to just check that the cut T contains only the theta, because otherwise if cut T has more than one element, then there exists alpha beta belongs to V such that alpha minus beta belongs to cut T, and also T alpha equal to T beta. So alpha not equal to beta but T alpha equal to T beta, then T will not be 1 1. So it is necessary for the one-oneness of T that cut T equal to singleton theta. Using this property, we define the non-singular linear transformation. Let T be a linear transformation from V to W. Then T is called non-singular if T gamma equal to theta implies gamma equal to theta. That means there is no other cases when T gamma equal to theta but gamma is non-null. That means cut T contains only the single element theta. Okay. Now we have an observation that cut T is, we know previously that cut T is singleton theta if and only if T is 1 1. We know this. So T is non-singular if and only if T is 1 1. Clear? So for the non-singularity also, it is if and only if condition that T is 1 1, necessary and sufficient. So the ontoness of T is not necessary. Next we have a theorem. Let T be a linear transformation from V to W, where V and W are vector spaces over the field F. If T is non-singular, if and only if actually, T is non-singular if and only if T carries the linearly independent subset of V onto a linearly independent subset in W. So since it is if and only if condition, first we assume that T be non-singular. So let T from V to W be a non-singular linear transformation, and let S equal to alpha 1 dot dot alpha k, this is a linearly independent subset of V. Now we are choosing C1 C2 dot dot Ck from the field F such that, so the choice depends on this, we are choosing in this way, you must get it, C1 T alpha 1 dot dot Ck alpha k equal to theta. Now since T is a linear transformation, so the left hand side will be T of C1 alpha 1 plus dot dot Ck alpha k equal to theta. Now what we have assumed, T is non-singular, so T of this quantity theta means definitely C1 alpha 1 plus dot dot Ck alpha k equal to theta. Again alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha k, these are linearly independent subset. So C1, C2, Ck, these are 0. Now we have chosen C1, C2, Ck in this way. C1 T1 alpha 1 T alpha 1 plus dot dot Ck T alpha k equal to theta, and it holds when C1, C2, Ck 0. So definitely T alpha 1 dot dot T alpha k, it is linearly independent subset. So the first part is proved. That means T non-singular, then T carries linearly independent subset to linearly independent subset. Converse part. Suppose that T carries linearly independent subset of V onto a linearly independent subset of W. Okay, we have to prove T is non-singular. Let alpha be a non-zero vector in V. Then definitely singleton alpha is a linearly independent subset of V. Since T carries linearly independent subset to linearly independent, so T alpha is a linearly independent subset in W. Again, since it is linearly independent, so T alpha must not be equal to theta. Now, alpha not equal to theta implies T alpha not equal to theta. That means cut T will contain only the element theta. Okay, because there is no non-null element such that T alpha equal to theta. So cut T has only the theta element. Therefore, T is non-singular. Okay, now I am giving you two problems. Okay, you will try it at your home. Let F be a field, T be a linear transformation from F2 to F2 be defined by T of x1 x2 equal to x1 plus x2 comma x1. We have to check T be non-singular, then T be onto, and also we have to find the inverse mapping F2 to F2, T inverse. This is your home task. You must solve this. Next problem. Give example of a linear transformation which is non-singular but not onto. And another problem, give example of a linear transformation which is onto but not non-singular. So to solve this, you have to consult your book, and these are important because only using the notes one cannot be sound in any subject. Next theorem, let V and W be two finite dimensional vector spaces over the same field F, and dimension of V equal to dimension of N. If T is a linear transformation from V to W, then the following are equivalent. Okay, this is very important theorem, till I am not proving it here. Okay, so the statement you have to keep in your mind. Number 1, T is invertible. Number 2, T is non-singular. Number 3, T is onto. Number 4, alpha 1 alpha, if alpha 1 alpha 2 dot dot alpha n is a basis in V, this implies T alpha 1 dot dot T alpha n is a basis in W. And number 5, there exists some basis alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha n. There exists some basis for V such that T alpha 1 dot dot T alpha n is a basis for W. Okay, and all these are true if V and W are finite dimensional and their dimensions are equal. If we lose this condition, this will not happen. Okay, so these are important. Now we define a term isomorphism. Okay, recall I have told you in some previous class that a linear transformation from V to W, from a vector space V to a vector space W, is also called linear homomorphism. So don't be confused with the term homomorphism, as you have learned it from the modern algebra, group homomorphism, ring homomorphism, etc. So here it is also linear homomorphism. Now homomorphism is isomorphism when it is T is 1 1 and on 2. It is clear to you. So we define this. Let V and W be two vector spaces over the field F. Then let T be a linear transformation from V to W. It is 1 1 and on 2. Then T is called an isomorphism of V onto W. Okay. When such happens, V is called isomorphic to W. Now, this isomorphism, this is an equivalence relation on the class of all vector spaces. What does it mean? That means equivalence relation means any vector space V is isomorphic to V. Okay. By the identity transformation. Again, V is isomorphic to W, W is isomorphic to Z, then V will be isomorphic to Z. Okay, reflexive, symmetric and transitive, that is transitive. So also V is equivalent to W, then W is equivalent to V, because then T is 1 1 on 2, so T inverse exists and that will be also 1 1 on 2. So reflexive, symmetric and transitivity give you that the isomorphism is an equivalence relation. And also we know that equivalence relation separates the class into separate classes, a set. So the collection of all vector spaces, you will have some classes, you can separate it. Each class, any vector space will represent a class, the other vector spaces will be isomorphic to that. Okay, so we have the theorem, let F be a field and V be a vector space over the field F, dimension of V equal to n, then V is isomorphic to Fn. Fn means F cross dot dot n times. How to prove it? To prove the isomorphism, we have to find a mapping T from V to Fn. So given dimension of V equal to n, so we must get a basis alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha n is an ordered basis for V. Now we define a transformation T from V to Fn by T of alpha equal to the coordinate of alpha with respect to this basis. That means T of alpha equal to basically x1 x2 xn, this type, where x1 x2 xn belongs to, for x1 xn belongs to F, and also alpha equal to written as x1 alpha 1 plus dot dot xn alpha 1. Also we know that this representation is unique. Okay, now let beta be another element, y1 alpha 1 dot dot plus yn alpha n belongs to V, and beta not equal to alpha. Okay, so the coordinate of beta with respect to this basis is not equal to coordinate of alpha with respect to this basis. And since coordinate are not equal, so T beta not equal to T alpha. So what we proved here, beta not equal to alpha implies T beta not equal to T alpha. That means T is 1 1. Now we are choosing Z1 dot dot Zn belongs to Fn be an arbitrary element. This implies Z1 alpha 1 plus dot dot Zn alpha n, it is an element in V. Okay, let this element be gamma. So the coordinate of gamma with respect to the basis, ordered basis V, that is Z1 dot dot Z2 Zn. So here we have proved the 1 1, T is 1 1. Next we have to prove onto. How to prove onto? We have to take an arbitrary element here. We have to show that it has some preimage. So this is an arbitrary element in Fn. Now we are searching, it has some preimage under T. So this holds. Hence T gamma equal to the coordinate of gamma with respect to B. Now since T gamma the coordinate of gamma, this is arbitrary because this element was arbitrary, so T is onto. Therefore, T is 1 1 1 2 means that T is an isomorphism from V to Fn. So V is isomorphic to Fn. The theorem follows. That's all for today.